Welcome, everyone, to Music Junkies, a podcast about people sharing extraordinary stories about how music has impacted their lives.
Welcome, everyone, to Music Junkies. I'm your host, Annette Smith, and our guest today is a Latin comedian, award-winning actress, writer, producer, inducted into the National Comedy Hall of Fame in 2020. This bilingual beauty has appeared on stage at the Comedy Store, the Improv, the Laugh Factory, the Ice House, the Comedy Zone, and performed all over California. You've also co-hosted on the Playboy Radio Show, which is pretty awesome. Please welcome Grace to the show. I so appreciate you joining us today on Music Junkies. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is a fun podcast. I was so excited. I am really excited to be on this podcast. And you mentioned that I was on Playboy Radio back when I was a blonde. With this hair, I had long blonde hair. And yes, this is the face of Playboy Radio. That's what you're looking at right now.
It's all right. I sent my pictures into Playboy, I don't know, probably 20 something years ago. And I picture back saying, thank you. And here's your picture back. I guess they don't keep your pictures.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Because of copyright reasons, I'm sure.
Which
yeah.
Probably good. Nowadays, I'd be scared to send my pictures there. Who knows what would happen?
Right. I know. Now, it was fun. Let me tell you, it was a fun experience to co-host for Playboy. It was very interesting.
I bet. What was your experience putting your playlist together for me today?
It was super fun. I'm very eclectic in my taste. I like everything. So it was fun. It was great. And it just gave me a whole different perspective on myself and, what I like and what triggers me in a good way or bad way. I don't know.
We'll see, I guess.
I don't even remember the songs I sent you because that was 2 months ago. But let's go.
Let's roll. We'll roll the first song.
Come bring me your softness.
With you, I'm born again.
Well, as you can imagine, that is a romantic song. And I think he was the love of my life, but he was also a little bit of a narcissistic abuser. That tells you a lot about me. Who's the love of your life? Oh, he abused me so good. But, it's not physically, but emotionally. Yeah. But anyway, it's okay. So yeah, we used to sing this to each other. We would sing together. And it just reminds me of that because I felt like I was born again, but not in the way that I thought I was born again. When I was in love and I was still processing what was happening, the abusive behavior, I thought I was in love. And then as I kind of realized, and I was called on it. A friend of mine was like, do you realize you're being abused? And I was like, oh my God, I never thought of that. I started my healing journey for the narcissistic abuse that I suffered as a child. So it is both a positive song and a little bit of a sad song. It's sad because, I had to go through all that, but it's satisfying in the sense that that was the start of my healing journey with that part of my life.
Yeah. So what were some red flags that you experienced or that your friend experienced first and then kind of light for you?
Absolutely. Well, the first, the one that I always tell the story is he was retired. He's an older kind of known actor. And I was still working, right? And I'm still working, obviously. He was 30-something, 40 years older than me. And so one day, I've always, I don't use the dishwasher. I kind of put the stuff in the sink and then wash it. And that's how I roll. It's valid. Some people like to just immediately rinse it and put it in the dishwasher. I don't operate like that. So one day he exploded and he was like, you always leave the mugs in the sink and you never put them, just like my son. I was like, all the yelling for what? Because I didn't rinse a stupid mug and put it in the dishwasher. So that was kind of like, gave me a little bit of perspective of what I was going through. In the beginning, it was a little bit more quote unquote subtle because I was like, well, he's having a bad day or he's angry about this. And after a while, it's like, can I curse?
Yes.
He's angry. Maybe he's angry after a while. It's like, no, he's just an asshole. Yeah. It's not, I stopped excusing him. And that's when I called him out on it because I didn't know any better. I was like, why are you doing this? You're being abusive and da-da. And of course, it's a personality disorder. And I don't think he realized what he was doing. To him, it was perfectly fine and normal because that was his norm. So, but I left. I left, like, run away pretty much.
You did. So,
oh, yeah.
Like in the middle of the night kind of run away or?
Well, I looked, we had a huge fight and I exploded because I had been abused for like 3 years. All of a sudden, it's like, right? And I started looking for another apartment. I didn't speak to him anymore. I completely like the silent treatment, which can be construed as abusive, but I couldn't even speak. I was so upset at what was happening. And I also didn't want to speak coming from anger because that's where I was. And so I told him I don't want to speak. I don't want to talk because what's going to come out of my mouth is not, positive or good, and rather shut up. And so I looked for an apartment, and it's where I live now. I've been here for like 10 years. Oh, wow. And I asked the universe for, a certain apartment, a certain area, a certain price. And it happened overnight. Like I got it. Like the universe was waiting for me to make this move. Like, we've been waiting for you. We have everything ready. Just do it, My mother and my friend who called out the abuse encouraged me to do it. And I'm very grateful for that because it was hard. It's hard to leave those relationships, especially when you think you're financially, it's kind of like an illusion, like you're financially kind of not dependent, but a little bit, because I worked, but it's just in your mind, you're dependent on these people, And but I got out and I've been abuse-free for the last 10 years. And I'm not planning to go through it again, ever. Not this lifetime, not my next one, nothing. I'm done.
I love how you said that everything was lined up for you when you left. That is such a key component because, we're older women. We've been through lots of things in life. And anytime I've ever left a relationship, biggest fear was financially. Was this person, I've never ever amalgamated my money together with another partner ever, right? I've been with, my spouse for 23 years. We haven't even 23 years. I've always had a separate bank account, never had joint a bank account. And I think it's from, my relationship that I did have, that I had kids with. And I made that decision to leave because he was stealing all my money. Like he wasn't. So I think it's so crappy to say, but my fear was, even though he was working and let's say he was paying the mortgage payment and I'm paying everything else, my fear was, how am I going to come up with $700 on a monthly basis in order to take care of our kids because I want to leave? And it was like, as soon as I made that decision, I had a girlfriend reach out to me saying, hey, I'm looking for a place to live. And we had a basement suite. And I was like, and it literally happened overnight. It was like
overnight.
And I moved her in like the next day. I didn't have to worry about that. So I love that you said that, because I think that is the biggest fear of most people leaving especially a female leaving a relationship, especially if she's home taking care of the kids, all of this stuff. And these women stay in these relationships regardless if they're abusive or not, or they just know that the relationship is done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We stay longer than we should. And it's the fear. And, every time we make decisions out of fear, we get more messed up, and we got to trust that things always work out for our highest good. And if you believe that, it will. Like you said, everything just happened almost overnight for you and for me. That's the way we experienced it. And it's having that trust. And I always tell people, it's like if God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, the source, divine intelligence, if that entity takes care of you, or that, not even an entity, that whatever it is, it takes care of you, then you're taken care of. And all you have to do is really just believe it and call it upon yourself. Just call it to you. Just call those things that you need, and they will come to you faster than, especially in situations like we've been, where we needed that really badly. They will show up overnight. Like everything, like my apartment is like the price range. The area is amazing. I mean, everything. I even had a boyfriend like a couple of months later. I was not healed. I should not have dated him, but we're still friends. He's a sweetheart. And he kind of helped me heal. Like he knew I was on the rebound and, had been in an abusive relationship, but, he kind of helped me and carried me through that very painful part of my life. And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, that's nice. I love that. All right, next song.
All right, let's see.
Ready?
Yes. Oh.
Brown-eyed girl.
Well, my eyes are hazel, but they can be light brown or green, like very light green, depending on the lighting. So this is from my ex-husband, who was really my first love. Like the abuser was the love of my life, or whatever it was, or soulmate, or some kind of twin flame or something. But this was my first love. And it was weird because he used to play this song all the time, like My Brown Eyed Girl. And then he realized it was about a breakup. So he was kind of forecasting like what was going to happen. It's really weird.
Every day he came home, he's cranking the song.
And he was like, oh my God, it's about a breakup. And I was like, let me sip some tea. I sip tea with a straw, so my teeth don't so I keep them
nice and white. So tell me about your first concert you ever went to, ever.
It was it? What was the name? Oh my gosh. I can't remember the name of the band. It was so long ago. Oh my God. I don't remember the name of the band, but it was fun. It was fun. I didn't, I lived in Argentina at the time, and because I'm from there, and, we couldn't do any kind of drugs or anything. So I just went, got a little claustrophobic, and never went back to a concert because it's too many people. And just like, no.
What was it like growing up in Argentina?
It was good. I mean, it's a different, I like to be able to live in different cultures, and that was where I was raised, so that's very ingrained in me. But then living in the US for a long time, then I'm kind of like a mixed cultural, because there are things that I still carry from my being raised in Argentina, which, I'm trying to deprogram myself from a lot of things, and part of that, and part of also, kind of growing up here by myself, but part of my college years and stuff. So yeah, it was good. It was good. I still have my high school friends. We have a group chat, and we still stay in touch, and they're lovely. So
what was your favorite meal growing up in Argentina?
Oh, steak.
Yeah?
It's all about steak and chorizo. Oh my God.
Oh, good.
But now I'm vegan, so I gave all that up.
It served you well. It served you well.
Yes, I ate all the steak I could eat for like 5 lifetimes.
What were you like growing up in high school? Like, what was the most challenging thing, if you think back, what was the most challenging thing that you experienced in high school?
what I really didn't like because of who I am was the cliques. You had to belong to a clique, and I'm more of a universal love kind of person. And so I understood it intellectually, but I did not like it.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of mean, like everything that didn't align with your clique was ugh.
Yeah.
And so I always found everybody interesting. Every person to me is interesting, and it's a whole different world that I like to explore and get to know. Some of them I don't want to explore or get to know, and I kind of block them. But if they're good people,
Facebook kind of brought that all back. I remember when Facebook came out. And
yes,
you want to reach out to all these elementary people and high school people, and then what I found was a lot of them were still doing the same thing that I had totally grown and outgrown, and so all those past feelings and guilt and shame that I felt going back to speak to these people just kind of dissolved, because I was like, oh, they forgot about it. I obviously have continued to harbor this for whatever reason.
Right.
The same people. So it was like, all right, well, I washed all that away. I think that took me a week of Facebook.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, they're different people. When you reconnect, it's just completely different. And, everybody has grown out of that BS. It's just bullshit. It's so stupid.
I know.
So sad. But adults still do it. It's all about division nowadays, political division and racial. And it's just, I'm all for unity, because I think in our unity, if we unite as humans, then humanity, the world is going to be a better place. And I know it sounds very idealistic, and it probably is. So in my art, even in my stand-up comedy, I talk about things that unite us. I talk about getting older, relationships gone bad. So anything that unites us versus divide us. Yeah. I prefer to go that route, to use my art in that direction.
And there's so much division right now. Like, I don't even know. Somebody told me, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that we're not classified as women anymore. We're like series or
cisgender.
It's like, what is happening? Like, I don't even understand what's happening, but I feel like this new generation is just bringing up issues that don't even need to be issued. And I don't feel like it's a lot of them. I feel like it's like 5,000. Yes. Like the whole entire world. I just find it like extreme, and I don't really understand it, and I'm really bad at grammar to begin with, so now you want me to learn a whole new dictionary, which I'm not like comfortable with doing at all, and half of it doesn't even make sense.
Well, I think, because I gave this a lot of thought, I think the new generation, starting with the millennials, because we're Gen Xers, right? Yeah. So millennials, I think, started the whole thing, and I do appreciate it, because we needed change, and we needed to deprogram ourselves from a lot of things that were not serving us. And both, men, women, non-binary people, everybody, they were not serving us. And I think that we needed it, but at the same time, any change can sometimes go a little too far, where now I feel like if they're giving me a different label, they're taking away what I identify with, which is as a woman. And so that's a little bit just taken away from people, rather than giving or calling out things, which I'm all for calling out bullshit, all for it, but also give me the liberty, if I choose not to align with what you're saying, then I want to go my route and be respected for it.
I like that you said that, because I feel like right now it's all about they want to be heard.
Yes.
And we can't have an opinion on that. So that's not even how a conversation goes. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you can't say that, and then I say this, and then when I'm saying now I am all of these things because you don't agree. Well, that's really what a debate is. That is really what a conversation is. Like, we all have friends that we don't agree with everything that goes on, but doesn't mean that they're all of these things that they're not. It just means we don't, COVID vaccinations are a perfect example. Some people wanted them, some people didn't. That's just,
it's your health.
yeah. So like,
what you want
to get it, which I did, and I didn't want to get it.
Right.
I went through a lot of friendship changes, which really, like, some of them were like 22 years of friendship.
Wow.
That I couldn't believe that, because I never even had conversation. Like, I never would have thought a conversation like that, of me making that decision of not being vaccinated, would interrupt a friendship, because it doesn't have nothing to do with you. It has to do with my body and what I put in my body. So how is that affecting you? So I feel like all this other stuff is the same thing. It's like, it's your body. You want it to change. How is it affecting me?
Yes.
It's not affecting me until it affects me. Then I'll have an opinion on it, and I'll have a strong opinion on it. And that will be that. And that's how a relationship goes, though. So it's so bizarre to me.
It is. And whenever there's change, sometimes you have to go to extremes. If you look at history, it's like, boom, swing the pendulum to like an extreme, and then it'll swing back to the middle, then it'll go back to the, it seems to be the flow of things. And it's all about respecting boundaries and respecting other people's choices. And as long as they're not harming other humans or affecting humanity in a negative way, it's your business,
Right.
It is absolutely your business. So I didn't want to be vaccinated because there was so much propaganda about it. I was scared because I didn't know, what would happen. And then unfortunately, I was diagnosed with cancer, and my oncologist was like, girl, you need to get it. So I got all the boosters, everything, because I couldn't get sick during my treatment. But again, a personal choice. Maybe if I wouldn't have gotten sick, I probably would have gotten like the 2 vaccines and no boosters, I don't know. So you can't judge somebody because you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah. And see, I was diagnosed with cancer 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't take it because of that, because my cancer is very rare, and because there's so much propaganda on it.
Yes.
It was changing all the time. I just didn't. At that time, it wasn't that I wasn't open to it, because there was so many companies coming out and everybody, and then this big, massive push to do it. It kind of freaked me out. And I'm like a leader follower. So I'm just kind of like, I'm going to like let the dust settle, and then I'll make my decision if I want to go and do that or not.
Yes, that was exactly me too. Yeah. Like I had the same attitude. Let's see if people, drop like flies or they still live.
Throwing 6 arms, and you're like, what is happening? And you just don't know.
You never know. Yes. And I'm all for vaccines. I have nothing against vaccines at all. I think they work. So, and I think there's a lot of misunderstanding also about this vaccine. Like I had a couple of friends have heart issues, and they're both smokers. So, but they both had COVID. So what I'm hearing is it's not the vaccine that's causing these things. It's if you get COVID, that's one of the long-term effects, is to have heart issues or strokes or
respiratory.
Because it's a virus that affects everything. That's why I don't want to get it. I'm like, kill me with that vaccine, baby. I don't want those long-term effects I've been through. We've been, as a cancer survivor, we've been through a lot. So we don't need any more shit.
Right, next song.
Vocal up to the floor.
Real ass bitch, give a fuck.
What Juicy say? Like,
Real ass bitch,
Don't
give a
run
fuck.
from me, friend.
Hot summer. Hot girl summer.
Hot girl summer, yes. Well, I started doing comedy in lingerie. I have an OnlyFans, It's not porn or anything. People are like, oh, it's just porn. No. There's a lot of people on OnlyFans that are actually cooking with clothes on. So there's a lot of content, and OnlyFans is great because you actually make money. So anyway, I started doing comedy in lingerie, which my manager had pushed me. I did not want to do it. I was like, there's no way, and of course I did it in the name of body positivity, which I believe 100%, but it was hard to get me to be positive about my body. So finally I did it, and they had to like give me, I love these songs, these like ratchet songs. And so they kind of like played these songs during the photo shoots that we did. And so it reminds me of that. And it's a fun time before I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Right
So
before.
are you still doing the OnlyFans?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm doing comedy and lingerie. I do lingerie modeling too, which I love. It's so fun. I'm more covered than girls on Instagram. So it's like, it's no big deal. It's just fun. And I do lives on OnlyFans where I'm laying down in lingerie. You can't see anything really. It's like very classy lingerie. I'm sassy but classy. And and so I had people coming in and they tip you because they think you look good. I put wigs on and stuff, put on makeup, like
Show lots of ass shots,
It is so fun, and then a lot of the other women who might do, maybe some of them do nudes or porn or whatever, and they come into your lives and they're like, oh, queen. And you're like, oh, queen. And it's fun. And it's just, we play games. I play truth or dare with the audience, and never have I ever, would you do this or that, like different games. And it's super duper fun. And so it's more of a like smart, funny, lingerie, sexy, you can do it, body positivity. If I'm in lingerie, you can be in lingerie kind of thing.
What's your favorite piece of lingerie?
I just love Savage X Fenty. There's one that's like lime green, and I know but it looks when I was blonde or when I put on a blonde wig. Oh my God, I have one on Instagram. That is my absolute favorite. It's gorgeous.
Do you ever get any guys buying you lingerie to wear for the show?
Oh, totally. Yes. They buy you gifts. They give you money. Sometimes when they ask me, for certain things, I'm like, I don't do that. What I've been doing lately is I've been doing dick roasts. I roast their dicks. And they pay me for that.
Are they showing their dick and then you're roasting it?
They send me a dick pic, which, I'm like a scientist. I look at it. I'm like, okay, I know what I need to write. And I look at it once. I got the idea. And then I write a dick roast. And let me tell you, I had raving reviews. They pay me to do it. I send them a video on lingerie roasting their dick.
What's the weirdest dick you've seen?
I don't know. I can't tell.
Dicks out there?
I've seen some weird dicks. I mean, the thing is not the weirdness. It's when people send you, remember when they used to send you unsolicited dick pics?
Just like a raging dick.
Yeah, it's like, dude, no, I don't want to see that. I'm not dating you. Even if I was dating you, that's not how I want to see it or what I want to see at the moment. Thank you very much. But for a dick roast, it's different. It's like I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A comedy doctor. So
So how many dick pics are you getting on a regular basis?
Girl, I made some money. I got like 5 roasts last week.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're creative on OnlyFans, you can make money, and you set the boundaries of what you're willing to do and not willing to do. And I tell the guys, like, this is not, they ask me, I'm like, sorry, don't do that. I don't do it. It's a boundary that I have. I'm not comfortable with it. And probably will never do it. There's certain things that I want to keep to myself. My sexuality is mine.
Yeah.
So it's not something I want to share with strangers on OnlyFans.
She's went from like OnlyFans selling feet pictures to OnlyFans.
No, they make a killing. The feet, butts, I'm sure make a lot of money. Anything you can have, and you don't need to show your face for those if you don't want to. I'd rather not, because that energy, I don't want that energy, but that's just a personal choice that I have. No judgment or shade on people that do it. I don't care. You do with your body as long as you're safe. Yeah. Make sure you're safe. That's the main thing when people do that kind of work, is to be safe.
That's right. And that kind of leads into our next.
Real hot girl shit. And if the beat live, you know Lil Juke made it. Yaddy, 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 yaddy.
Body.
Yes.
Oh, Megan. Megan's done.
This reminds me specifically of the first photo shoot that I did. How that song made me feel sexy. It was all females on set. My manager, a female, the makeup artist, the photographer, and the photographer had been a stripper. And so she kind of coached me on how to be sexier because I'm like, you know, so I'm like,
Is this
and
good?
and then it's so uncomfortable to be sexy. I had no idea. It was like, suck your belly in, chin down, boobs out. I was like, hurry up. I was so sore the next day. Oh my God. I was so from like the posing. It is so hard. Let me tell you, models don't have it easy. It is hard.
Yeah.
It's like almost Cirque du Soleil. I'm not kidding you. You have to be like,
You might have to throw some of that stuff in there into your picture. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
How would your friends describe you?
Fun,
Yeah.
loyal, warm, thoughtful, caring, crazy, a little cuckoo.
I love
But good kind of crazy, not the, dangerous kind of crazy. Yeah, no, we don't want that. Yeah, and the flaws, probably stubborn, which can be good too. Once I set my mind to something, I do it, but for other things, it's not that great. Sometimes inappropriate. I say inappropriate things. It's good if I...
Do you have any pet peeves, things that drive you crazy?
Mean people.
Yeah.
And even if I'm mean, it just, no, I just completely switch. I'm like, no. Or even if I think about, if somebody does something, I just dealt with somebody doing something publicly. And I was like, okay, what I want to do is just sassy, but then I'm like, is that really coming from love? That's my ego wanting to like kick her butt in with words.
Yeah.
But I took the high road, but that takes a little bit of you have to
sucks.
Yeah, you have to pull back and recognize, okay, that's my ego. Nothing wrong with the ego.
Yeah.
But do we really want to engage in an ego war where it leads to nothing, Yeah. So I answered in a very, I came from love, from my higher self, and said, don't shame me publicly like that. If you have a problem with me, do it privately. I have no problem in speaking. Yeah, I'm receptive. And that's it.
Yeah.
So
And you
that's
just
my
go
pet
and
peeve.
draw her picture on the pillow and
I don't actually. I don't want that kind of energy, because
Yeah.
it attracts that. If we come from love and we resolve things from our higher self rather than our ego, I think that even protects you from, engaging in something that's fruitless. I don't want to be engaged in something that's going to be just fruitless and it's going to be a war of the egos. It's just doesn't work. I've been there, done that. It doesn't work. It only leads to more anger and more resentment and more I am right and you're wrong. And it's like, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. It's valid the way she felt. It's valid the way I felt about what she did. And, if we come from love and we resolve it in a loving way, then no big deal. But if we start the war of the egos, then not good.
Yeah, and there's lots of ego out there, 100%.
There is a lot of ego, yeah.
And it is really hard to take the high road. Like I grew up, my dad was very verbal abusive. So I grew up very reactive, like, hey,
yes,
like, don't challenge me. Like you're going to, I start below the belt and
totally.
That's where I
so easy because
been like that.
Because we were trained to be that way, because that was
and
the
then going and trying to like take the high road all the time. So like I still struggle with it because I'm like, is this a high road situation, or do I need to slap a bitch? Because like I'm confused here what I'm supposed to do. And 90% of the time I am taking the high road, but
yes,
always question myself. I always say, hey, should I have, or should I be actually saying something for this does not happen again? Or
yes,
because there is sometimes things happen in your life, like it's a pattern, you keep seeing it come up. And then, okay, I've always took the high road with this. Maybe I need to not take the high road with this and actually stop this.
I completely understand what you're saying. And what I actually thought about this today. You can actually, because in the beginning, my answer on the comment section was kind of like, ha ha ha. And then I was like, no, I'm not ha ha haing. This is not ha ha ha. This is an attack on me. So from a peaceful spirit, I just stopped it. I was like, that's not, if you have a problem, just address it privately. I don't do this and that you're accusing me of. It's bogus. This is not happening. I will delete the video because I can make another one. I don't care. She stitched me on TikTok and I was like, yeah. And so I did set a boundary because I texted her that. I set the boundary right there. Like, look, I never do this. This is not what this is about. And second of all, if you have a problem, address me privately. So I did say it peacefully and lovingly, but at the same time, I set a boundary. Like, I don't appreciate you doing that. That's not the way to handle it in my world. If you have a problem, come to me. Don't just put it out there. What's the point? People didn't even understand that she stitched the video wrong. So people were like, huh?
It's interesting how quick people are to run to the internet, but such pussies to come and have a conversation with you.
I know. Listen, she has my phone. She could call. She could text me. It's like, girl, you're doing this and that. Okay, I get it. And I'll be very open and peaceful about it. But if you attack me publicly like that, and like shade me like that, no, girl, no. That's like, no. If you're my friend, if you're a stranger, go for it. But if you're my friend, no, honey, no.
Next song.
All right, let's go.
I don't think she was your best friend, but that's what this song is called.
Yeah, isn't that funny? No, she's not my best friend for sure. Never was, never will be. Yes, she my best friend. She a real bad bitch, got her own money. She don't need no man on the dance floor. So yeah, I love that song. It reminds me of my friend Heather, who actually we became friends through a friend of mine that I've known for a very long time, and they're married now. And I became really good friends with her, and she took care of me during my cancer journey. She took me to like the surgeries, my doctor's appointments, my chemos, and we always laugh. And she's like super cool. See, she's somebody like, if she has a problem, she'll be like, girl, listen, the other day when you said this, and I'm like, I'm so happy you tell me, because yeah, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. We're good. Okay. That's the way. So she's my kind of girl where we're both very bold and upfront, and we're always laughing and being silly. And she's super caring and just, one of those people that are like earth angels. She's one of them.
That's nice.
So that Ratchet song reminds me of my earth angel.
So when did you start realizing that you liked comedy? Were you like a funny child? Were you a performer? Yeah.
Yes, I was a performer as a child, and I always wrote funny stuff. Like, I'm more of a writer. I love performing, don't get me wrong, but I love writing. That's my way of expressing myself. And I always wrote, and then in New Orleans, when I lived in New Orleans and I was married to my first love that we talked about, we had an art gallery. I had it. Basically, he helped me out and he had a job. And so yeah. What was the thing? I forgot. I trained of thought because I went like on sidebars.
When did you start really?
Oh yeah. The comedy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry, my ADHD.
Oh, good.
I go on sidebars and then I was like, oh, what was the point? Okay. So I had an art gallery. That was my point. That's why I was like, why am I telling about the art gallery? In my head, like what? Okay. So I had people that would come in and they were like, you should just stand up because you're funny, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I always kind of like love to write funny stuff. So I took a class in New Orleans way back, and then I got hooked on it, kind of like a love-hate relationship, which all stand-ups have a love-hate relationship with stand-up. And I've been doing it forever, and I love doing it. And yeah, but that was the first time, like my clients at the art gallery, they were like, you should just stand up.
Do you think it's hard for a Latin female in the world of comedy?
It's hard for a female, period. But I think now we're more united and there's more females. So, and it's sad that they have to say male comic, female comics. We're all comics, you know?
Yeah.
And there's this prejudice that women are not funny, which is like so old. It's like if people say that, it's like, dude, you just dated yourself. You're like, what, 500 years old?
Yeah. From the 1800s, what's happening here?
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. That's like so like 1700s.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it is hard, but I think, like I said, the doors are opening, and thanks to this new generations, I think that things have opened up for women and minorities.
So who is your favorite comedian of all time?
Ooh, that's tough.
You got a couple?
I would personally enjoy. I went to see Wanda Sykes and she was hilarious. I went to the Improv a long time ago. She was so funny. And then Chris Rock. I love Chris Rock. I love Louis Black. Dave Chappelle is controversial, but I do appreciate his art very much. I understand.
He likes to do that shock stuff, and I'm a big shock person too. So like, I love like Lisa Lampanelli because she's like shocking, right? And you don't expect it, and you don't expect it coming out of a female's mouth. So I'm like, her, because I've always been like that too, right? Where it's like, whoa, what did you just say? And it's like, I don't know, it just comes out. I don't know how to stop it.
yeah, totally. Well, like Dave Chappelle, you know, he's controversial and sometimes he goes a little bit too far, in my opinion. Yeah. But what's too far? And you know, I think we can actually do comedy without offending or without hurting other people. If you look at yourself, like I said, I talk about, you know, getting older and how much I hate it. And so that's an experience that we all go through. So it's not like I'm attacking one group.
And it's relatable.
And it's relatable, exactly. Yeah. I'm not attacking men or women or minority. I never done that anyway, to be honest. I've never done that. I don't like to do that. Never did. That's not my brand at all. Like I said, it's what unites us that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next song.
All right. Let's see.
I Can't Breathe. Her.
Yeah, that's more of a wow chickie bow wow song.
You made love to this song.
No, I made out actually with somebody that I only made out with once. That it was amazing, like maybe 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago, exactly. And and there was a playlist, and that was one of the songs. And it was my playlist, which is all very like that music, like her, Jhené Aiko, you know, very kind of R&B, but not really R&B. It's more of a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Your
my makeout song. I can't breathe. Get off me.
You have to go to the gym. This is killing me. We have to change position. Is there an audience through your performance that you were like, this is out of control, best audience that I've ever performed in front of?
You know, I think it's not as much the audience as much as you. I had 7 minutes the other day. I did on Wednesday, 7 minutes. It's a show in LA where you have a lot of comics. She made me go up last, like a headliner. I had no idea of it. You do the same time as the other ones. So it's because I was late to the show anyway, because I had to work, so I was late. And it was 7 minutes where every single joke got an applause break. And I never had that happen, like where every single, and it's because of me, because after my cancer experience, I think I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just giving the emotion, putting the emotion behind my words in a way that I did not do before. It was kind of like a hit or miss, but now the emotion, I'm able to access that emotion so readily that every punchline it got an applause break. It was like, and like I said, the audience was great and receptive and super fun. But I think it had to do with me more than anything. When I don't do well, I'm like, what can I do better? Why didn't I do well? What can I improve? Sometimes, yes, the audiences might be a little bit, less expressive, or they don't connect with you as much, but it's always you. It's always the performer that, if you connect with people, it's magical. Like when you connect on an emotional level, it's not as much the jokes, which of course you have to have good jokes and good material, but it's the emotion that I think.
And they're laughing, it's loosening you up. You feel like you're winning, so you keep going in the same direction, which is creating that result. Instead of if you're up there and nobody's laughing, you're like, okay, I got to change direction, or maybe I got to do something shocking.
Right.
You know what I mean? So your energy is just kind of stagnant all of the time, but when you're flowing, you're like, yeah, that was amazing. I love that. That was awesome.
Yes, but it's almost like I reached a different level. Like I went ka-ching. I even heard it, I think, after the show. Ka-ching. Yeah.
You got 50 new dick pics and
Girl, I think OnlyFans is making me better. Those dicks are like really improving me spiritually.
It's telling you what you don't want. You're like, no, I don't want that. That's right. Have you ever had a heckler? I'm assuming you have.
Oh, we all do.
So how do you handle that?
Well, I once did a long time ago. I did a show in the Inland Empire. I can't even remember what it was. And I headlined for $75 and a pizza. And there was a guy in the back that was a cholo, kind of like a gangster.
Yeah.
Because the guys told me later that, that guy is like a cholo. I was like, oh shit. And I'm Latina, so it's like I'm not afraid of cholos. I know why. It's so weird. Like feels like they're my brothers, It's like, oh come on, really? You want to be gangster? No, not on my watch. So he said something. He heckled me. I don't remember what he said, and I said, I don't know what came out of my mouth. Could somebody please put a dick in his mouth so he would shut the fuck up? And there was this silence in the whole room because they knew who this guy was. It was in a bar, right? That's the context. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, I better call my mom and tell her to start planning my funeral because I'm going to die tonight. I am dead already, I think. So nothing happened. They shut up. I continued. And then at the end of the show, he was like, like other guys were like other people, they were like, you know who that guy is, right? I was like, I have no idea. But he didn't, I think he knew that he kind of deserved that, that comeback. And it's a common comeback, like people say in different ways, but I just thought just somebody put a dick in his mouth. So
What do
maybe
you expect? You're interrupting the comedian. You're interrupting the show. You're not funny. It's disrespectful.
yeah.
And I think all the power to anybody that shuts down. I hate hecklers. It interrupts the experience.
Yes.
It throws the comedian off. Like, even though you guys are witty and sharp and have fast comebacks, that's all fine. But when you're performing, you have a flow and then somebody interrupts that. We all have to experience that. And you should put a dick in your mouth and shut the fuck up and allow the flow, because now your flow is interrupted and you're probably going to start the next part, not maybe what you would even have ever talked about in the show because of this guy.
Yep. Yeah, it throws you off for sure. I mean, you continue, it kind of throws you off, but not really. You don't see that because we're like used to it. But yeah, it's just they just want the attention. They just want to be heard. You know, they want to probably be there on the stage, and they don't have the balls to do it, or maybe they did it once and it didn't go well the way they expected. I mean, who knows? You know, it's but yes, it is. And I think the audience hates them more than the comedian, because it's like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to listen, and you're really not improving the experience or the intent of us listening to what she's saying or he's saying. So
it's always a douchebag in the crowd, right?
Always. And it's alcohol induced. Yeah. And I had a woman do that to me too. I don't know why. Yeah, it was weird. And she was like belligerent. It was at the Ventura Comedy Club back then. It's not out there anymore, but it was weird. I was like, wow. She was drunk. A lot of, like a lot of the hecklers. Yeah, they're drinking, so they have more liquid courage, and they're just, they have more courage to just, they don't care because they're blurred by the alcohol. So, but we're sober up there. I'm always sober. So so if you're gonna be a drunk, I'm gonna outwit you no matter what.
Next song.
You call me on a lazy afternoon, asking me what I'm up to. Let's find something to do.
So Crush.
Yes, Crush. That reminds me of like more innocent times when we used to have crushes. I don't have crushes anymore. I know what's up. But yeah, it reminds me of, having like crushes on somebody. And it's usually somebody unavailable in the sense that they're not into me and I'm into them. It's always, my crushes are always like emotionally unavailable men, just like my father. So, I crush on, if you're not available, anybody out there not available,
hit her up. I'll put her DM in her.
Yeah, and will reject me to no end. Go for it. I'll crush on you for the rest of my life. Bring it. Send me a dick pic. No, please don't. No, don't.
Are you dating right now? Are you single or in a relationship?
No, I am single. After that abuser guy, it was really hard for me to trust and to open up and to really just surrender, to just trust, because you don't surrender, you just trust. I don't want to be hurt again. And so I've had small relationships, but like a year, maybe a couple for a year. And that was it. In the last 11 years. And I was on dating apps and, got a lot of dates, but dating apps, there's just so much work. And, men text you and they waste your time and they waste their time, because then you meet and maybe there's no spark. So I feel like it's better to meet people in real life, or sometimes people in my industry that, we have people in common that we know. They're like, hey, let's, go on a date or whatever. But other than that, to be honest, I'm just happy by myself, unless somebody incredibly amazing comes up, like somebody that I really want to spend time with. Not all my time with, because I'm not that kind of person. I like to be very independent and but somebody that you want to go on a trip with, or like a good friend with, good sex, I guess.
That's right. So speaking of obviously being single for a long time and being on these dating apps, do you have like a funny dating story that you could share that you experienced?
Oh, I have many. The craziest one was, it wasn't a dating app person. It was, I never, like, if people in the audience come up to me and they ask me out or they want, I usually don't, I'd rather not, because it's just not good to engage with your fans or people that, I don't know how to explain it, like people that go on a show. But I did it a couple of times because, of course, I had to figure out on my own that it was not good. And so this guy who used to be in the Marines, right? So we went out and we met at the show. We went out and he started telling me, like, he was very drunk. And he started telling me, like, almost like government secrets. I'm not kidding. So I was like, oh, shit. If he realizes what he's telling me, he's going to kill me or something. So he went to the bathroom. And I swear to God, girl, it was in Venice. I ran with heels on to my car. It was parked by the beach. I ran so fast with my heels. And then I texted him. I'm like, oh, a friend of mine texted me that he's going to the ER and I have to go with him. And then I blocked him. And of course, since then, it's funny because karma is a bitch. I had lately somebody used that same excuse to cancel my second date with him because he was seeing somebody else, and then make the relationship official. So karma is a bitch. Be careful. So I was like, when he told me, like, oh, my brother-in-law went to the ER, I was like, oh, bitch, you're doing the same shit I do.
I just use that to.
I know. You come up with something more creative. Like, I just lost my foot or something,
Yeah.
I'll never know. We'll never see you naked. So don't worry. I never know if your foot is real or not. Jesus. Oh.
Whores in this house, there's some whores in this house, there's some whores in this house, there's some whores in this house.
I said certified free, 7 days a week.
Walk.
This reminds me of my hoe period.
Okay. So
My
how
hoe.
period?
Well, when you're hurt, okay, this is like my inner teenager. I was hurt, and so I just went out and I didn't sleep with everybody. Obviously, I don't do that, but I just dated people and even, had sex with people that I knew nothing was going to, and I was almost like a dude, like, like, hey, get out, bye. And the guys were like hurt. They're like, oh,
Cab fares on the table. I'm going to need you to exit.
yes, yeah. But can I stay? No, you can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that reminds me of the hoe period, which was empowering, but at the same time, a waste of time.
Waste of time. But I think everybody has to do it.
Everybody. Yes, you have to have your hoe period. Absolutely.
You have to, right? And not have any care and like just see you later. I don't want anything from you. I did that when I separated from my ex, and it was awesome. I loved it.
Isn't it? It's fun, but then it's like, I have so much to do that I'm like, I don't have this kind of time. So yeah, but yeah, that was my whole period. And yes, I loved it. If you're going to do it, just go with it and have fun. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just do it. All right. Next song.
You had me at hello.
So Beautiful Lies.
Yes, that reminds me of my abusive ex. He had me at hello. And the lies, narcissistic abusers lie. They don't see it as a lie, but they lie to gain your trust, and then so that reminds me of that. There were beautiful lies.
It's crazy how sucked in we can get so quickly. You know, the guy that I had kids with literally flew to another province and pulled out money on our house and then literally flew back the same day and like came into the kitchen and like ate dinner. And I didn't find out about this until like we split up. And then I had a knock on the door saying, you know, your property in BC is in foreclosure. And I was like, what? And he had not been paying the mortgage payment for like 17 months. And then so when I went to go sell the house that I was in, I found out that there was a $20,000 mortgage on there. Every single piece of jewelry that he bought me, the wedding ring that he gave me, the video camera that he jerked off on to show me, all of that stuff was gone.
Gross. Oh,
just like took everything. I remember coming home from work one day and like it was seriously raining outside and like all the cables were like pulled across the entertainment stand. And I had some friends with me and I was like, oh, we're going to hang out, have some glass of wine and watch a movie. And I was like, where the fuck is my stereo and my TV? And like it was all gone. And I was like, it was him. Because there's no way, it was downpour rain. There's no way that somebody robbed my house and leave any dirt in there. And like all the things, like why would they, you know, obviously they probably would have took my Gucci watch and this beautiful ring. But like some of the stuff was hid. Like the video camera was like hidden, like in like a towel closet under sheets. Like nobody's going to go and you're going to go do a B&E. You're not looking in bathroom towels for stuff, you know. So
that knew, was
so
shed.
crazy. It's so crazy what you just allow, what you allow, where you see the signs and you're just like, oh, right. That's interesting that you're home every day at 2:00. Why the fuck is that? Like what? Like I don't understand why you're home every day at 2:00. It's so weird. You know, and then you just find out all this stuff later on. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And I'm just surprised and glad that you were able to trust again because you've been married. You know,
I didn't marry him, thank God.
Thank God. No, I know. But now
I said yes to the ring, and then we were actually planning. During the planning session, I was finding out all of this stuff.
God.
Didn't understand where all the money was going. I didn't understand why, you know, I was getting phone calls about, you know, missed payments or all of this stuff. It was crazy just to feel so taken advantage of.
Yeah, no, that's horrible when you trust someone and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's crazy. But before we go on your last song, I want you to share with the audience where we can find you, stalk you, hunt you down, what shows you got coming up, what fun things you're going to go start and put out there to the universe for all of us to laugh and have some fun with.
Awesome. So my website is gracecomedian.com. You can find me on Twitter, Grace Fraga, Fraga. Instagram is Grace Fraga Comedy. Also Facebook, Grace Fraga Comedy is my page. You can find me on Facebook. TikTok, Grace Fraga Comedy also. I'm all over. If you go to my website, you can click, I have all the social medias and you can follow me. Follow me and let's have fun together. You know, I post a lot of shit.
That's good. I love it. Right. We're on your last song. You ready?
All right. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Lizzo making lots of waves out there, which I absolutely love in her song Lingerie, right? Like it's awesome. It's awesome. All the power to her. I think more people just need to be free and open about who you are as a person. I think even even doing this podcast, one of my most kind of irritable things is that I am really good at, I think I am anyways, making people feel comfortable and they share stories. My biggest kind of regret after that is when people feel like they said something that somebody else might take offense. And it's just, to me, it's like, it's not that I don't want anybody to be offended. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, just be yourself. Why do we have to, patch everything up that we say? You were comfortable. That's really how you feel. Now it's going to go out there to the world and you're worried about, offending this or offending that, or having disclaimers on stuff. It's an awful way to live.
Oh, it's awful. And people are so mean to Lizzo.
I know.
Some people, it's like, grow up. There's so much body shaming going around, which that's why I love doing the body positivity lingerie thing, because, I had a friend of mine, I showed her one of the pictures and she cried because it's like, you're showing your sensuality and you're not apologizing for it. And that's something that I'm working on as a performer. And so, I feel like Lizzo does that for people. Like, she almost gives us permission to be who we are and not give a fuck. And I love her for that. She's one of the earth angels. She really is.
Yeah.
She's one of them. Mm-hmm.
I love it so much. Thank you, Grace, so much for joining us today on Music Junkies. But before I let you go, I'd love for you to share some words of wisdom to those that are listening today.
Well, linking to the conversations that we had, my word of wisdom is, before you reply to somebody that offended you or upset you, make sure you embrace that feeling of fear or anger or whatever you have. Say, I love you feeling. I understand. I know where you're coming from. I acknowledge you, but now it's time to step away and let my higher self handle this. So that would be my words of wisdom.
I love it. Thank you again, Grace, for joining us on Music Junkies. Like, follow, subscribe. I will give you all of Grace's handles so you can go and stalk her yourself. You don't have to stalk her through me. I don't know if she's accepting dick pics, but I guess you could always ask. Go get her on OnlyFans.
I will roast your dick, but you have to ask first. Just say, can you roast my dick? I'll be like, yes, Venmo me this money and I will send you a video of me in lingerie roasting your dick. There you go. And I'll look at your dick like a scientist.
Which some of them need to be looked at as scientists.
Yes.
Signing off. Thanks for listening today. Hope you enjoyed the show. New episodes out every Monday. Please share with a friend and subscribe because you want to. And like me because you like me. Leave a comment so we can connect. And if you have a great playlist and you want to share, I'd love to have you on the show. Please reach out to me on Instagram at The Music Junkies Podcast.